Pennsylvania isn't just the birthplace of American independence. Long before the Liberty Bell rang out in Philadelphia, long before William Penn set foot on these shores, something else was happening here. Ancient peoples carved symbols into rocks that we still cannot decipher. They built structures that align with celestial events with mathematical precision that seems impossible for their supposed technological level. They left behind artifacts that challenge everything we think we know about pre-Columbian America. What if I told you that Pennsylvania might have been visited by ancient Egyptians, that Celtic druids might have performed rituals in Pennsylvania's forests centuries before Columbus, that there are underground complexes beneath Pennsylvania that might connect to a vast network spanning the entire continent? These aren't just wild theories. They're possibilities supported by archaeological evidence that mainstream academia often chooses to ignore. Tonight, we'll explore these mysteries together. We'll walk through moonlit forests, where ancient stones still stand sentinel. We'll descend into underground chambers, where the air itself seems to whisper secrets from millennia past. We'll examine artifacts that could rewrite American history, if only someone had the courage to acknowledge what they really represent. So settle in, dim the lights, and prepare to discover a Pennsylvania you never knew existed. A Pennsylvania where the impossible might just be possible, where the ancient past reaches across time to touch the present, and where mysteries older than recorded history still wait to be solved. Chapter 1. The Mysterious Stone Circles of Beaver County. Deep in the woodlands of Beaver County, Pennsylvania, stands a collection of stones that has puzzled investigators for over a century. Known as the McGran Stone Circle, this ancient arrangement of massive sandstone blocks forms a nearly perfect circle, roughly 30 feet in diameter. But here's what makes it truly extraordinary. The stones are arranged with such precision that they align perfectly with key astronomical events, including the summer and winter solstices. When you first approach the McGran Circle, the feeling is unmistakable. There's an energy here, a presence that seems to emanate from the earth itself. The stones, some weighing several tons, weren't placed randomly. Each massive block occupies a specific position that serves a greater purpose, a purpose that becomes clear only when you understand the sophisticated astronomical knowledge required to create such alignments. Local Native American tribes have always insisted these stones were here when their ancestors first arrived in the region. The Seneca and Delaware peoples speak of the circle in hushed tones, referring to it as a place where the spirits of the ancestors gather. Their oral traditions describe the stones as being placed by the Old Ones, beings who possessed knowledge of the stars and seasons far beyond what early humans should have known. But here's where things get interesting. Recent geological analysis of the stones themselves reveals something that challenges conventional timelines. The weathering patterns on these massive blocks suggest they've been in place for far longer than previously thought, possibly thousands of years longer. The type of erosion visible on the stone surfaces is consistent with exposure to Pennsylvania's climate for at least 4,000 to 5,000 years, placing their construction well before any known advanced civilization in North America. Archaeological investigations around the circle have uncovered artifacts that only deepen the mystery. Stone tools found buried near the circle don't match the typical technology associated with the region's known Native American cultures. Instead, they show sophisticated knapping techniques more commonly associated with advanced European or Mediterranean civilizations. Carbon dating of organic materials found with these tools consistently returns dates between 3000 and 4000 BCE, a time when mainstream archaeology insists no advanced cultures existed in North America. The astronomical alignments of the McGran Circle are perhaps its most compelling feature. During the summer solstice, the sun rises directly over one specific stone, casting a shadow that points precisely to the circle's center. On the winter solstice, the same phenomenon occurs with a different stone. The spring and autumn equinoxes are marked by additional alignments, creating a sophisticated calendar system carved in stone. What makes these alignments truly remarkable is their accuracy. Modern astronomical calculations confirm that the alignments were perfect at the time of the circle's construction, accounting for the gradual shift in Earth's axial tilt over millennia. This level of precision requires not just careful observation, but also advanced mathematical understanding of celestial mechanics. The builders of this circle possessed knowledge that supposedly wouldn't be available to humans for thousands of years. Local researchers have discovered something even more intriguing when they mapped the location of the Mound Circle in relation to other mysterious stone structures throughout Pennsylvania. A pattern emerged. The circle sits at the intersection of two straight lines that connect dozens of ancient sites across the state. These lines, extending for hundreds of miles, link stone chambers, petroglyphs, and other mysterious structures with mathematical precision that seems far too exact to be coincidental. The implications are staggering. If these alignments are intentional, they suggest the existence of a sophisticated network of ancient sites across Pennsylvania, all connected by an underlying geometric pattern. This would require not just advanced astronomical knowledge, but also surveying capabilities that mainstream archaeology insists didn't exist in pre-Columbian America. Some researchers have gone even further, suggesting that the Mound Circle and its associated sites might represent evidence of ancient contact between Pennsylvania and Old World civilizations. The astronomical knowledge embedded in the circle's design mirrors similar understanding found in ancient Egyptian, Celtic, and Mesopotamian sites. Could ancient explorers from these civilizations have reached Pennsylvania thousands of years before Columbus? The evidence at Mound suggests this possibility might not be as far-fetched as it sounds. The local community has always been aware of the circle's unusual properties. Generations of residents have reported strange phenomena in the area, from unexplained lights hovering over the stones to electronic devices malfunctioning near the circle. Compass readings become erratic within the stone ring, and several visitors have reported their watches stopping or running backward while inside the circle. These reports might seem like folklore, but they take on new significance when considered alongside recent scientific discoveries. Researchers have detected unusual electromagnetic fields around the Mound Circle, fields that fluctuate in patterns that seem to correspond with the lunar cycle. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed what appears to be a complex network of underground chambers beneath the circle, chambers that haven't been fully explored due to the site's protected status. The Mound Stone Circle represents just the beginning of Pennsylvania's ancient mysteries. Its precision, antiquity, and connection to a larger network of sites across the state suggests that Pennsylvania was home to advanced civilizations long before recorded history. As we delve deeper into the state's hidden past, the Mound Circle serves as a tantalizing preview of the secrets that await discovery. Chapter 2: Underground America, Pennsylvania's Hidden Chamber Network. Beneath Pennsylvania's rolling hills lies a network of underground chambers and tunnels that predates known American history by thousands of years. These aren't natural caves or modern constructions, they're carefully engineered spaces carved from solid bedrock, with a precision that suggests advanced knowledge of structural engineering. The chambers vary in size from small rooms to vast underground halls, all connected by a labyrinthine system of passages that extends across multiple counties. The first documented discovery of these chambers occurred in 1924 when a farmer in Lancaster County was digging a foundation for a new barn. His shovel broke through what he assumed was solid ground, revealing a perfectly circular hole descending into darkness. When local investigators lowered lanterns into the opening, they discovered a chamber roughly 20 feet square, carved directly from the limestone bedrock. The walls showed clear tool marks, but the marks didn't match any known construction techniques from the colonial period. What made this initial discovery even more intriguing was what they found inside the chamber. Scattered across the floor were carved stone tablets covered in symbols that bore no resemblance to Native American petroglyphs or any known writing system. The symbols appeared to be a form of script, with recurring patterns that suggested linguistic structure, but no one could decipher their meaning. Even more mysterious were the carbon deposits on the chamber walls, arranged in patterns that suggested the space had been used for ceremonial fires over extended periods. Word of the Lancaster discovery spread quickly through archaeological circles, leading to systematic searches for similar structures throughout Pennsylvania. What researchers found was astounding. Underground chambers appeared to exist across the entire state, from the Delaware River Valley in the east to the Ohio border in the west. Each chamber showed similar construction techniques and contained similar mysterious artifacts. The engineering sophistication of these underground spaces cannot be overstated. The chambers are carved with mathematical precision, their walls perfectly vertical, and their ceilings forming precise arcs that distribute weight evenly across the structure. Many chambers feature sophisticated drainage systems that prevent water accumulation, suggesting their builders understood principles of hydraulic engineering that weren't supposed to exist in pre-Columbian America. Perhaps most remarkably, many of the chambers are connected by tunnels that maintain consistent grades over vast distances. Some tunnels extend for miles underground, connecting chambers in different counties while maintaining structural integrity that has lasted for millennia. The precision required to excavate these tunnels suggests the use of advanced surveying techniques and possibly even sophisticated tools that mainstream archaeology insists weren't available to ancient American civilizations. Carbon dating of organic materials found in the chambers consistently returns dates between 2000 and 4000 BCE, placing their construction in the same time period as the stone circles we discussed earlier. This correlation suggests that Pennsylvania's ancient inhabitants possessed not just astronomical knowledge, but also advanced engineering capabilities that allowed them to create complex underground networks. The purpose of these underground chambers remains hotly debated. Some researchers suggest they served as storage facilities for agricultural communities, providing climate-controlled spaces for preserving food and other valuable materials. Others propose they were religious or ceremonial sites, underground temples, where ancient peoples conducted rituals away from the elements and potential enemies. But there's a third possibility that's gained traction among more adventurous researchers: the sophisticated engineering of the chambers, their extensive interconnections, and their strategic locations throughout Pennsylvania suggest they might have served as refuges or even underground cities. If ancient Pennsylvania was home to advanced civilizations, these chambers could have provided protection during times of conflict or natural disaster. This theory gains credibility when you consider the chamber's defensive capabilities. Many feature narrow entrance tunnels that could easily be defended by small groups, while the underground connections would allow movement between locations without exposure to surface threats. The sophisticated ventilation systems found in many chambers could support large populations for extended periods, turning the underground network into a vast subterranean refuge system. Recent discoveries have added new dimensions to the mystery. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed that many of the known chambers are actually parts of much larger underground complexes. What appears to be a single room from surface excavations often turns out to be merely the antechamber to extensive underground networks that remain unexplored. In Chester County, researchers using advanced sonar equipment discovered what appears to be an underground hall over 100 feet long and 30 feet wide, carved from solid rock at a depth of 40 feet below the surface. The hall connects to at least 6 smaller chambers, creating an underground complex that could easily house several hundred people. Similar discoveries in other counties suggest that Pennsylvania's underground network might be far more extensive than anyone previously imagined. The tools used to create these chambers present their own mystery. The precision of the carving and the smooth finish of the walls suggest the use of advanced stoneworking techniques that weren't supposed to exist in ancient America. Some tool marks appear to have been made by implements that operated with mechanical precision, raising questions about the technological capabilities of Pennsylvania's ancient inhabitants. Local legends and Native American oral traditions provide intriguing context for these discoveries. Delaware and Iroquois stories speak of the people who lived below, ancient inhabitants who retreated underground during times of great upheaval. These traditions describe vast underground cities where the ancient ones preserved their knowledge and waited for better times to return to the surface. The electromagnetic anomalies detected around Pennsylvania's stone circles are also present near many underground chamber entrances. Researchers have recorded unusual magnetic field fluctuations and unexplained electronic interference that seems to emanate from the underground structures. Some investigators have suggested that the chambers themselves might be generating these fields, possibly through some unknown property of their construction or location. The Pennsylvania Underground Network connects to an even larger mystery. Similar chambers have been discovered throughout New England, the Mid-Atlantic region, and extending west into Ohio and Indiana. The construction techniques, the mysterious symbols, and the carbon dating all match the Pennsylvania discoveries, suggesting the existence of a vast underground network spanning much of eastern North America. If this interpretation is correct, Pennsylvania's underground chambers represent just one part of a continental infrastructure created by an advanced civilization that existed thousands of years before recorded American history. The implications for our understanding of pre-Columbian America would be revolutionary, requiring a complete re-evaluation of human development in the New World. Chapter 3. The Petroglyphs that rewrote history. Carved into the weathered sandstone cliffs along the Susquehanna River, Pennsylvania, harbors some of North America's most enigmatic petroglyphs. These aren't simple hunting scenes or basic pictographs that characterize most Native American rock art. Instead, they display a sophistication and complexity that suggests their creators possessed knowledge and cultural influences far beyond what mainstream archaeology attributes to ancient Pennsylvania inhabitants. The most significant collection of these mysterious carvings lies along a stretch of the Susquehanna known as Safe Harbor, where native peoples carved symbols into the rock faces over what appears to be several thousand years. But when researchers began studying these petroglyphs in detail, they discovered something extraordinary. Mixed among the expected Native American symbols were carvings that bore striking resemblances to ancient European, Mediterranean, and even Egyptian hieroglyphs. Dr. James Whittle, one of the first archaeologists to systematically study Pennsylvania's petroglyphs, made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the academic community. Among the Safe Harbor carvings, he identified symbols that matched ancient Celtic Ogham script, a writing system used by the Celts of Ireland and Britain between the 4th and 6th centuries CE. But carbon dating of organic material found in the same rock layers as these carvings suggested they were created much earlier, possibly as early as 1000 BCE. The implications were staggering. If Whittle's identification was correct, it meant that Celtic peoples had reached Pennsylvania over 1,000 years before the Vikings reached North America, and nearly 2 millennia before Columbus. The academic establishment's response was swift and dismissive, but Whittle's evidence was difficult to ignore. The Ogham-like carvings weren't isolated anomalies. Throughout Pennsylvania, researchers began identifying petroglyphs that matched various Old World writing systems. Near the town of Mechanicsburg, carvings resembling ancient Phoenician script were discovered carved into a rock face alongside traditional Native American symbols. In Bucks County, symbols matching ancient Libyan script were found integrated into what appeared to be astronomical observation sites. Perhaps most remarkably, several sites in Pennsylvania contain petroglyphs that bear striking resemblances to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The most famous of these is located near the town of Pottsville, where a series of symbols carved into a rock face includes what appears to be the Egyptian Ankh symbol, representations of the sun disk, and other hieroglyphic elements that shouldn't exist in pre-Columbian America. The controversy surrounding these discoveries stems not just from their implications for American history, but from their integration with clearly Native American symbols. These aren't separate carving sites that might represent different periods of occupation. Instead, the Old World symbols appear alongside, and sometimes overlapping with traditional Native American petroglyphs, suggesting contact and cultural exchange between ancient American peoples and Old World civilizations. Carbon dating of organic deposits found in the carved grooves of these petroglyphs has consistently returned dates much older than conventional timelines would suggest. Many of the mysterious symbols appear to have been carved between 1000 BCE and 500 CE, during a period when mainstream archaeology insists no significant cultural contact existed between the Old and New Worlds. The astronomical significance of many petroglyph sites adds another layer to the mystery. Like the stone circles we discussed earlier, many of Pennsylvania's petroglyph sites are positioned to mark important celestial events. The symbols themselves often incorporate astronomical references, including apparent depictions of solar and lunar cycles, constellation patterns, and even what some researchers interpret as records of specific astronomical events, like eclipses or supernovae. At the Column Sill Megalith Park in Pennsylvania, researchers have identified petroglyphs that appear to record the positions of stars and planets with remarkable accuracy. The carvings include symbols that match the positions of major constellations as they would have appeared thousands of years ago, accounting for the precession of the equinoxes. This level of astronomical sophistication rivals that found in ancient Egyptian and Mesopotamian sites. The linguistic analysis of Pennsylvania's petroglyphs has revealed patterns that suggest they represent actual written communication rather than simple pictographic records. Barry Fell, a controversial but influential researcher, spent decades analyzing the linguistic structure of these symbols and concluded that they represented multiple ancient writing systems that had somehow reached North America. Fell's analysis suggested that Pennsylvania's petroglyphs included not just Celtic Ogham and Egyptian hieroglyphs, but also ancient Iberian script, Punic writing from ancient Carthage, and even symbols that matched ancient Arabic writing systems. While Fell's conclusions were dismissed by mainstream archaeology, his detailed linguistic analysis provided compelling evidence for ancient transoceanic contact. The geographic distribution of these mysterious petroglyphs follows patterns that support the transoceanic contact theory. Sites containing Old World symbols are clustered near Pennsylvania's major river systems, particularly the Susquehanna, Delaware, and Ohio rivers. These waterways would have provided natural highways for ancient explorers, allowing them to penetrate deep into the North American interior. Moreover, the distribution pattern matches theoretical ancient navigation routes. If ancient mariners had crossed the Atlantic and entered North America via the St. Lawrence River system, they would naturally have followed water routes that led directly through Pennsylvania. The positioning of petroglyph sites along these routes suggests they might have served as waypoints or markers for ancient travelers. Local Native American traditions provide crucial context for understanding these petroglyphs. Delaware and Iroquois oral histories describe ancient visitors who arrived from across the Great Water, bringing with them knowledge of writing, astronomy, and metalworking. These traditions speak of cultural exchange between the native peoples and the ancient visitors, describing a period of shared knowledge that lasted for generations. The Lenape, Delaware creation stories include references to ancient teachers who showed them how to read the signs in stone and sky. These stories describe symbols that were carved into rocks to preserve important knowledge, symbols that combine native traditions with the wisdom of the ancient visitors. The parallels between these oral traditions and the actual petroglyphs found throughout Pennsylvania are too specific to be coincidental. Recent discoveries have added new evidence to support the transoceanic contact theory. In 2018, researchers using advanced photographic techniques to study weathered petroglyphs near the town of Washington discovered previously invisible symbols that had been worn nearly smooth by centuries of erosion. These newly revealed carvings included what appeared to be a complete inscription in ancient Celtic Ogham script, providing the clearest evidence yet for pre-Columbian European presence in Pennsylvania. The inscription, when translated using standard Ogham conventions, appears to describe a journey across the Great Water and the establishment of a settlement in a land of rivers and forests. While the translation remains controversial, the linguistic structure and grammatical patterns match known Celtic inscriptions from Ireland and Britain. The technological sophistication required to create many of Pennsylvania's petroglyphs also challenges conventional assumptions about ancient American capabilities. Some carvings show evidence of having been created with metal tools, at a time when Native American technology was supposedly limited to stone implements. The precision and depth of many carvings suggest the use of advanced chiseling techniques that required both sophisticated tools and considerable expertise. Chemical analysis of some petroglyph sites has revealed traces of metal compounds in the carved grooves, consistent with the use of iron or bronze tools. Since metallurgy wasn't supposed to exist in pre-Columbian Pennsylvania, these findings provide additional evidence for contact with Old World civilizations that possessed advanced metalworking capabilities. The petroglyphs of Pennsylvania represent far more than simple rock art. They constitute a written record of cultural contact and knowledge exchange that predates accepted historical timelines by thousands of years. As we continue to study these remarkable carvings, they challenge us to reconsider everything we think we know about ancient American history and the possibility of transoceanic contact in the distant past. Chapter 4. The Forbidden Archaeology of Serpent Mound. While Ohio's famous Serpent Mound receives most of the attention, Pennsylvania harbors its own serpentine earthworks that might be even more significant and certainly more mysterious. Scattered across the state are at least 12 documented serpent-shaped mounds, most of them smaller than Ohio's famous example, but displaying engineering sophistication that challenges our understanding of ancient American capabilities. The most remarkable of Pennsylvania's serpent mounds lies hidden in the forests of Butler County, where an earthwork nearly 800 feet long winds through a valley with mathematical precision that seems impossible for its supposed age. Unlike Ohio's Serpent Mound, which has been extensively studied and partially restored, Pennsylvania's serpent earthworks remain largely unexplored, their secrets protected by dense forest growth and some say deliberate academic neglect. The Butler County serpent differs from its Ohio counterpart in several crucial ways. While Ohio's mound follows the natural contours of the landscape, Pennsylvania's serpent appears to have been constructed to specific geometric specifications that override natural topography. The earthwork maintains consistent dimensions along its entire length, with the body measuring exactly 12 feet wide and 4 feet high for nearly 600 feet before expanding into a head structure that's 40 feet across. What makes this precision even more remarkable is the serpent's astronomical alignments. The head of the Butler County serpent points directly toward the point on the horizon where the sun rises on the summer solstice. The body follows a sinuous path that aligns with the positions of major constellations as they appear throughout the year, creating what amounts to a massive earthen calendar that tracks celestial movements with startling accuracy. Carbon dating of organic materials found within the mound structure has returned dates between 800 BCE and 200 CE, making it roughly contemporary with Ohio's Serpent Mound. But here's where things get interesting. Ground-penetrating radar reveals that Pennsylvania's serpent sits atop an even older structure, one that appears to extend much deeper into the earth, and may represent multiple phases of construction spanning thousands of years. The lower levels of the mound contain artifacts that don't match any known Native American culture from the region. Stone tools recovered from the deepest layers show sophisticated knapping techniques and are made from materials that don't occur naturally in Pennsylvania. Chemical analysis indicates these stones originated in regions as distant as the Great Lakes, the southeastern United States, and possibly even outside North America entirely. More intriguing are the metal artifacts found within the mound structure. Several bronze implements have been recovered from layers dating to around 500 BCE, a time when metallurgy supposedly didn't exist in eastern North America. The bronze composition matches alloys found in ancient European artifacts, suggesting either direct contact with Old World civilizations or knowledge transfer that allowed local peoples to create similar alloys. The construction techniques used to build Pennsylvania's serpent mounds display engineering knowledge that seems advanced for their attributed age. Core samples reveal that the mounds weren't simply piled earth, but carefully engineered structures with internal frameworks designed to prevent erosion and maintain structural integrity over millennia. The builders used a sophisticated understanding of soil mechanics and drainage that rivals modern earthwork engineering. Each serpent mound appears to be positioned as part of a larger landscape pattern. When plotted on detailed topographic maps, Pennsylvania's serpent earthworks align with the same geometric network we've seen connecting stone circles and underground chambers. The serpents mark specific points along these ancient survey lines, suggesting they served as monuments or markers within a comprehensive landscape design that spans the entire state. Local Native American traditions provide fascinating insights into the significance of these serpent mounds. Seneca and Delaware oral histories describe the serpent as a powerful spiritual entity that controlled the underground waters and the forces of the earth. According to these traditions, the serpent mounds mark places where this entity rises to the surface, creating powerful spiritual sites where communication with the earth's spirits is possible. But the native traditions also speak of the serpent mounds as ancient. When their ancestors first arrived in Pennsylvania, the stories describe finding the earthworks already in place, created by the mysterious Old Ones who possessed knowledge of earth shaping and star reading that surpassed even the most learned medicine men. This suggests that the serpent mounds might predate known Native American occupation of the region by centuries or even millennia. Recent archaeological investigations have uncovered evidence that supports this interpretation. Excavations around the Butler County Serpent have revealed multiple layers of occupation, with the oldest showing cultural patterns that don't match any known Eastern North American tradition. The deepest layers contain pottery fragments with decorative motifs that bear striking resemblances to ancient European and Mediterranean ceramic traditions. The most controversial discovery came in 2016, when researchers excavating near the Serpent's Head uncovered what appeared to be a stone chamber similar to those found throughout Pennsylvania's underground network. The chamber, constructed from carefully fitted stone blocks, contained artifacts that have yet to be fully analyzed due to ongoing legal disputes over excavation rights. Preliminary reports describe carved stone tablets, covered in symbols that match no known American writing system, but bear resemblances to ancient Iberian and Celtic scripts. If these reports are accurate, the chamber represents direct evidence of Old World influence in Pennsylvania that predates Columbus by over 1,000 years. The electromagnetic anomalies detected at other Pennsylvania mystery sites are also present at the Serpent Mounds. Researchers have recorded unusual magnetic field fluctuations that seem to follow the serpent's body, creating a pattern of electromagnetic disturbance that extends for the entire length of the earthwork. Some investigators have suggested that the mounds might be positioned over natural electromagnetic anomalies, possibly related to underground water flow or mineral deposits. These electromagnetic effects might explain the persistent reports of unusual phenomena at serpent mound sites. Visitors frequently report feelings of disorientation, unusual dreams after visiting the sites, and electronic equipment malfunctions. Several researchers have documented compass readings that deviate significantly from magnetic north when taken along the serpent's body, suggesting the presence of strong local magnetic fields. The serpent symbolism itself raises intriguing questions about ancient knowledge systems. The serpent appears in spiritual and mythological traditions throughout the ancient world, from the Norse Jormungandr to the Egyptian Apophis to the Mesoamerican Quetzalcoatl. The presence of sophisticated serpent earthworks in Pennsylvania suggests that the builders shared this universal serpent symbolism, possibly through direct cultural contact with Old World civilizations. Some researchers have gone further, suggesting that the serpent mounds represent ancient knowledge of earth energies or natural forces that modern science is only beginning to understand. The precise positioning of the mounds, their electromagnetic anomalies, and their integration with astronomical alignments might indicate that their builders possessed advanced understanding of natural phenomena that we've only recently rediscovered. The scale and sophistication of Pennsylvania's serpent mounds challenge conventional assumptions about ancient American capabilities. These aren't simple earthworks thrown up by primitive hunter-gatherers. They represent complex engineering projects that required advanced planning, sophisticated construction techniques, and coordinated effort by large organized communities. The astronomical knowledge embedded in their design rivals that found at the world's most famous ancient sites. As research continues, Pennsylvania's serpent mounds promise to reveal even more secrets about the state's mysterious ancient past. They stand as monuments to civilizations and knowledge systems that mainstream archaeology has yet to acknowledge, earthen testaments to the possibility that North America's history extends much further back in time than we've been taught to believe. Chapter 5. Ancient Mining Operations and Impossible Metallurgy. Deep beneath Pennsylvania's surface, lies evidence of mining operations that predate known American metallurgy by thousands of years. These aren't the simple copper extraction sites that mainstream archaeology reluctantly acknowledges among ancient Great Lakes peoples. Instead, Pennsylvania harbors sophisticated mining complexes that extracted not just copper, but also tin, silver, and possibly even platinum, using techniques that supposedly didn't exist in pre-Columbian America. The first hint of Pennsylvania's ancient mining legacy emerged in the 1800s when coal miners in the anthracite regions began uncovering evidence of much older excavations. Deep underground, they found perfectly circular shafts that descended far below the coal seams, shafts that showed clear evidence of systematic extraction but weren't connected to any known historical mining operations. The walls of these ancient shafts bore tool marks that didn't match any known mining implements from the colonial or early industrial periods. What made these discoveries even more intriguing was what the miners found in the ancient shafts. Scattered throughout the excavations were metal tools and implements that clearly weren't of European origin. Bronze chisels, copper hammers, and even what appeared to be steel cutting tools were discovered in contexts that predated European arrival by centuries or millennia. Carbon dating of wooden tool handles and organic materials found with these implements consistently returned dates between 1000 BCE and 500 CE. The most significant ancient mining site lies hidden in the forests of Schuylkill County, where a complex of interconnected shafts and galleries extends deep into the earth. Unlike the haphazard excavations you might expect from primitive mining, this site displays sophisticated engineering that maximizes extraction efficiency while maintaining structural safety. The shafts are perfectly vertical, the galleries follow ore veins with mathematical precision, and the entire complex features a drainage system that keeps the workings dry despite being located below the water table. Ground-penetrating radar surveys of the Schuylkill site have revealed the true scope of these ancient operations. The visible surface remains represent only a small fraction of a mining complex that extends over several square miles underground. Conservative estimates suggest that over 100,000 tons of material were extracted from this site alone, representing a mining operation that would have required hundreds of workers operating over several centuries. But here's what makes Pennsylvania's ancient mining truly extraordinary. Analysis of the extracted materials reveals that the ancient miners weren't just extracting common metals like copper and iron. Chemical analysis of slag deposits found at multiple sites indicates the processing of tin, silver, zinc, and even traces of platinum group metals. The presence of tin is particularly significant because tin doesn't occur naturally in Pennsylvania, meaning it had to be imported from distant regions, or the ancient miners had access to tin sources that we haven't yet identified. The metallurgical sophistication evident at these sites challenges everything we think we know about ancient American technology. Furnace remains found at several locations show evidence of achieving temperatures over 2000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to smelt not just copper and bronze, but also iron and steel. The furnace designs incorporate sophisticated airflow systems and temperature control mechanisms that weren't supposed to exist in pre-Columbian America. Perhaps most remarkably, chemical analysis of metal artifacts found at Pennsylvania mining sites reveals alloy compositions that match ancient European and Mediterranean metallurgical traditions. Bronze tools show the precise tin-to-copper ratios favored by Celtic and Iberian metal workers. Steel artifacts display carbon content and tempering patterns identical to those found in ancient European weapons and tools. This metallurgical evidence provides some of the strongest support for ancient transoceanic contact. The specific alloy compositions and manufacturing techniques found in Pennsylvania match Old World traditions so precisely that independent development seems highly unlikely. Either ancient European metal workers reached Pennsylvania and established mining operations, or they shared their technological knowledge with native peoples, who then replicated European techniques with remarkable accuracy. The scale of Pennsylvania's ancient mining operations suggests they weren't just local enterprises serving regional populations. The quantity of metal extracted far exceeds what small communities could use, indicating large-scale production for export to distant markets. Some researchers have suggested that Pennsylvania might have served as a major metal supplier for ancient North American trade networks, shipping processed metals throughout the continent via the extensive river systems. Recent discoveries have added new dimensions to this interpretation. Archaeologists working in the Ohio River Valley have uncovered bronze artifacts that chemical analysis traces back to Pennsylvania source materials. Similar connections have been established with metal artifacts found as far away as the southeastern United States and the Great Lakes region, suggesting that Pennsylvania's ancient mines supplied a continental trade network. The social organization required to operate these mining complexes implies the existence of sophisticated ancient societies in Pennsylvania. Large-scale mining requires not just technical knowledge, but also complex social structures capable of organizing labor, managing resources, and coordinating trade relationships. The evidence suggests that ancient Pennsylvania was home to organized states or chiefdoms with capabilities that mainstream archaeology doesn't associate with pre-Columbian Eastern North America. Local Native American traditions provide intriguing context for these mining discoveries. Delaware and Iroquois oral histories speak of ancient peoples who dug deep into the earth mother to extract the metals needed for tools and ornaments. These traditions describe sophisticated metalworking knowledge that was possessed by the old ones, but gradually lost as younger generations moved away from the mining areas. The traditions also describe visitors from across the Great Water who shared knowledge of metal finding and metal working with the ancient peoples. According to these stories, the visitors brought with them the secrets of creating bronze and iron, teaching these techniques to native metal workers, who then adapted them to local conditions and materials. Archaeological evidence supports these oral traditions. Several Pennsylvania mining sites show clear evidence of technological transition, with early levels displaying relatively simple copper working, gradually giving way to sophisticated bronze and iron metallurgy. The progression suggests knowledge transfer rather than independent development, with new techniques being integrated into existing native traditions. The environmental impact of Pennsylvania's ancient mining provides additional evidence for the scale and sophistication of these operations. Soil analysis around known mining sites reveals heavy metal contamination patterns that extend far from the extraction points, indicating large-scale processing operations that would have produced significant environmental effects. The contamination patterns match those found around ancient mining sites in Europe and the Mediterranean, suggesting similar processing techniques. Pollen analysis from sediment cores taken near mining sites reveals another intriguing pattern. During the periods of intensive ancient mining, forest composition changed dramatically, with certain tree species declining while others increased. This pattern matches the environmental changes associated with large-scale charcoal production, the kind needed to fuel extensive metallurgical operations. The tools and techniques used in Pennsylvania's ancient mines display innovations that weren't rediscovered in America until the Industrial Revolution. Evidence suggests the use of controlled blasting to break rock, possibly using natural chemical processes to fracture stone without explosives. Water-powered machinery appears to have been used for lifting materials from deep shafts, requiring engineering knowledge that wouldn't be seen again in America for over 1,000 years. Recent technological advances have allowed researchers to explore these ancient mines in ways that weren't previously possible. Three-dimensional laser scanning of accessible shafts has revealed construction details that showcase remarkable engineering sophistication. The shafts maintain perfect verticality over depths of hundreds of feet. The galleries are precisely aligned with geological structures, and the entire complex demonstrates understanding of structural engineering that rivals modern mining practices. Pennsylvania's ancient mining legacy represents one of the most compelling pieces of evidence for advanced pre-Columbian civilizations in North America. The sophistication of the operations, the advanced metallurgical knowledge they demonstrate, and their connections to Old World techniques all point toward a history far more complex than mainstream archaeology acknowledges. As research continues, these ancient mines promise to reveal even more secrets about Pennsylvania's remarkable past. Chapter 6. The Celtic Connection, Evidence of Ancient Irish Presence. The rolling hills of Pennsylvania bear striking resemblances to the ancient landscapes of Ireland and Scotland, but the similarities might go far deeper than mere topography. Scattered throughout the Keystone State are archaeological sites that display unmistakable Celtic influences, from stone constructions that mirror ancient Irish techniques to artifacts that could have been crafted in medieval Celtic workshops. The question isn't whether these similarities exist, it's whether they represent coincidence, independent development, or actual contact between ancient Pennsylvania and the Celtic world. The most compelling evidence for Celtic presence in Pennsylvania comes from the stone structures themselves. Throughout the state, researchers have identified over 40 stone chambers and dolmens that employ construction techniques identical to those found in ancient Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. These aren't just superficial similarities. The Pennsylvania structures use the same corbelling techniques, the same understanding of weight distribution, and even the same astronomical alignments that characterize Celtic sacred sites across the Atlantic. The Goshen Stone Chamber in Chester County represents perhaps the most convincing example of Celtic construction in Pennsylvania. This beehive-shaped structure, built entirely without mortar, employs the same corbelling technique used in Ireland's ancient passage tombs like Newgrange. The chamber's entrance aligns perfectly with the winter solstice sunrise, exactly as you'd find in Celtic astronomical sites throughout Ireland and Britain. What makes the Goshen Chamber particularly significant is its integration with the surrounding landscape. Like Celtic sacred sites in the Old World, the chamber sits at the intersection of natural energy lines marked by underground water flows and geological features. The builders clearly understood the Celtic concept of sacred geography, positioning their structure at a point where earth energies naturally concentrate. Carbon dating of organic materials found within the chamber walls places its construction between 600 and 800 CE, exactly contemporary with the golden age of Celtic culture in Ireland. This timing isn't coincidental. It corresponds with the period when Irish monks were pushing the boundaries of known exploration, establishing monasteries in Iceland, and possibly venturing even further west into uncharted Atlantic waters. The Celtic connection becomes even more convincing when you examine the artifacts found within and around Pennsylvania's stone chambers. Excavations have uncovered bronze fibulae, Celtic-style brooches used to fasten clothing, that match designs found in 7th and 8th century Irish archaeological sites. The craftsmanship is identical, down to the decorative patterns and manufacturing techniques that characterize authentic Celtic metalwork. Even more remarkable are the Ogham inscriptions found carved into stones throughout Pennsylvania. Ogham, the ancient Irish writing system that uses combinations of lines and notches to represent letters, appears on at least 15 documented sites across the state. The inscriptions aren't random scratches or natural weathering patterns. They follow proper Ogham grammatical structure and include recognizable Irish Gaelic words and phrases. Dr. Barry Fell's controversial but detailed analysis of Pennsylvania's Ogham stones revealed inscriptions that describe journeys across the Western Ocean, the establishment of settlements in a land of many rivers, and references to Christian saints popular in medieval Ireland. While mainstream archaeology has largely dismissed Fell's translations, independent linguistic analysis by Celtic language experts has confirmed that many of the inscriptions follow authentic Ogham conventions and contain genuine Irish Gaelic vocabulary. The most famous of Pennsylvania's Ogham stones stands in a remote forest clearing in Elk County. The stone, which weighs over 3 tons, bears a lengthy inscription that Fell translated as describing the dedication of a sacred grove to the Irish Saint Brendan the Navigator. Saint Brendan, according to Irish tradition, led an expedition across the Atlantic in the 6th century, possibly reaching North America centuries before the Vikings. Local place names throughout Pennsylvania provide additional evidence for ancient Irish presence. Dozens of geographic features bear Gaelic names that predate any known Irish immigration to the region. These aren't anglicized versions of Native American names. They're authentic Gaelic toponyms that describe landscape features using vocabulary and grammatical structures specific to medieval Irish. The town of Donegal in Pennsylvania takes its name from the Irish Gaelic Dún Donegal, meaning fort of the foreigners. While conventional history attributes this name to later Irish settlers, the location sits adjacent to one of Pennsylvania's most significant stone chamber complexes. The chambers themselves show construction techniques identical to the ancient stone forts of County Donegal in Ireland, suggesting the name might preserve memory of much earlier Irish presence. Native American oral traditions provide crucial support for the Celtic connection. Delaware and Seneca stories describe ancient visitors who arrived in great boats, bringing with them knowledge of stone building and metalworking. These visitors, described as having pale skin and red hair, established settlements along Pennsylvania's rivers and intermarried with native peoples before eventually disappearing or being absorbed into local populations. The physical descriptions in these native traditions match historical accounts of the Irish perfectly. Medieval Irish were known for their fair complexions and the high incidence of red hair, characteristics that would have stood out dramatically among Native American populations. The traditions also describe the visitors as skilled in working with stone and metal, abilities that characterize Celtic civilization during its peak period. Archaeological evidence supports these oral traditions. DNA analysis of Native American remains from Pennsylvania burial sites has revealed European genetic markers that predate known European contact by centuries. The markers match Irish and Scottish genetic profiles, suggesting intermarriage between Celtic visitors and native populations exactly as described in oral traditions. The religious aspects of Pennsylvania's Celtic sites provide another layer of evidence. Many of the stone chambers show signs of having been used for Christian worship, with carved crosses and other Christian symbols integrated into obviously ancient construction. This matches the pattern of Celtic Christianity, which often adapted pagan sacred sites for Christian use while preserving their astronomical alignments and sacred geography. The Monk's Cave near Gettysburg exemplifies this pattern. The artificial cave, carved directly from sandstone bedrock, contains carved crosses and other Christian symbols alongside Ogham inscriptions and astronomical alignments, typical of Celtic sacred sites. The cave's entrance faces east toward the sunrise, following Celtic Christian tradition, while its interior acoustics create the kind of echo effects prized in Celtic monastery design. Carbon dating of organic materials from the Monk's Cave indicates continuous use from approximately 700 to 1200 CE, exactly the period when Celtic Christianity was at its peak. The cave's design matches similar structures found in Ireland and Scotland, where Celtic monks created hermitages by adapting natural caves or carving artificial ones from living rock. The metalworking traditions preserved in Pennsylvania also show strong Celtic influences. Traditional blacksmithing techniques, practiced by Pennsylvania German communities, include methods identical to those used in ancient Celtic workshops. The specific forged designs, the quenching methods, and even the decorative patterns applied to finish metalwork all match Celtic traditions with remarkable precision. Some researchers have suggested that these metalworking traditions were preserved through continuous practice by Celtic communities that remained in Pennsylvania from ancient times through the colonial period. While this theory seems far-fetched, the precision with which Celtic techniques were preserved, even in details that weren't commonly known outside Ireland and Scotland, suggests some form of direct cultural transmission. The astronomical knowledge embedded in Pennsylvania's Celtic sites rivals that found in the most sophisticated ancient observatories. The stone chambers and standing stones mark not just the major solar events like solstices and equinoxes, but also more subtle astronomical phenomena like the lunar standstills and specific star risings that were important in Celtic calendar systems. This astronomical sophistication wasn't just theoretical knowledge. It had practical applications that would have been crucial for ancient Atlantic navigation. The same star knowledge needed to mark Celtic religious festivals would have allowed navigators to determine their position during long ocean voyages. The presence of such knowledge in Pennsylvania suggests that whoever built these sites possessed the navigational skills needed for transoceanic travel. Recent discoveries continue to strengthen the Celtic connection. In 2019, construction workers near Harrisburg uncovered what appeared to be a Celtic-style boat burial complete with iron weapons and personal ornaments that match 8th century Irish grave goods. While the site remains under investigation, preliminary reports describe artifacts that are virtually identical to items found in authenticated Celtic burials in Ireland. The implications of Celtic presence in ancient Pennsylvania extend far beyond simple historical curiosity. If Irish monks or settlers did establish communities in Pennsylvania during the early medieval period, it would represent one of the most significant pre-Columbian contacts between the Old and New Worlds. It would also suggest that the Atlantic Ocean was far less of a barrier to ancient peoples than we've assumed. Pennsylvania's Celtic legacy challenges us to reconsider the possibilities of ancient exploration and settlement. The evidence, from stone constructions to written inscriptions to DNA markers, paints a picture of sustained contact between Pennsylvania and the Celtic world that lasted for centuries. As research continues, this Celtic connection promises to reveal even more about the complex history of ancient Pennsylvania and its surprising links to the wider world. Chapter 7. The Mystery of the Susquehanna Seal Stones. Along the banks of the Susquehanna River, scattered among the more familiar petroglyphs and Native American artifacts, lies one of Pennsylvania's most perplexing archaeological mysteries. These are the Susquehanna Seal Stones, small carved stone discs that bear intricate designs unlike anything else found in North America. The stones, numbering in the hundreds, display a level of artistic sophistication and symbolic complexity that has baffled researchers for over a century. The first documented discovery of these enigmatic artifacts occurred in 1889 when a farmer ploughing fields near Harrisburg unearthed what he initially mistook for a child's toy. The object was a perfectly circular stone disc, about 3 inches in diameter and half an inch thick, carved with intricate designs that spiraled from the center to the edges. The craftsmanship was extraordinary, showing a level of artistic skill that seemed far beyond what anyone expected from ancient Pennsylvania. Word of the discovery spread quickly through archaeological circles, leading to systematic searches along the Susquehanna River Valley. What researchers found was astounding. The carved stone discs appeared to be scattered throughout the river system, from its headwaters in New York down to its confluence with the Chesapeake Bay. Each stone was unique, yet all shared common design elements that suggested they were created by the same culture or artistic tradition. The variety of designs found on the Susquehanna Seal stones is remarkable. Some feature intricate geometric patterns that spiral inward towards central symbols. Others display what appear to be astronomical charts, with careful arrangements of dots and lines that correspond to star patterns visible in Pennsylvania's night sky. Still others show naturalistic designs featuring animals, plants, and human figures, rendered with artistic skill that rivals the best prehistoric art found anywhere in the world. What makes these stones truly mysterious is their apparent age. Carbon dating of organic materials found in the same archaeological context as the seal stones consistently returns dates between 2000 and 3000 BCE, making them among the oldest sophisticated artworks ever discovered in North America. This antiquity places their creation well before any known advanced civilization in the region, suggesting that Pennsylvania was home to artistic traditions far more sophisticated than previously imagined. The technical skill required to create the Susquehanna Seal stones challenges assumptions about ancient tool technology. The precision of the carving, the smoothness of the surfaces, and the intricate detail of the designs all suggest the use of metal tools working on stones selected for their ideal carving properties. Yet this level of craftsmanship supposedly predates metallurgy in Pennsylvania by thousands of years. Microscopic analysis of the tool marks on the seal stones reveals cutting patterns consistent with copper or bronze implements. The grooves show the characteristic smooth surfaces and consistent depths that result from metal tools, rather than the rougher, more irregular marks left by stone implements. This evidence suggests that the creators of the seal stones possessed metallurgical knowledge that mainstream archaeology doesn't associate with ancient Pennsylvania. The symbolic content of the seal stones provides tantalizing clues about their creators' knowledge and worldview. Many stones feature astronomical symbols that demonstrate sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. Star charts carved into the stone surfaces accurately represent constellation positions, as they would have appeared thousands of years ago, accounting for the gradual shift in stellar positions over time. Some of the most intriguing seal stones display symbols that bear striking resemblances to ancient writing systems from around the world. Dr. James Whittle, who spent decades studying these artifacts, identified symbols that matched ancient Sumerian, Egyptian, and Indus Valley script elements. While no complete inscriptions have been deciphered, the presence of these apparently linguistic symbols suggests that the seal stones might represent an unknown ancient writing system. The geographic distribution of the seal stones follows patterns that suggest they weren't randomly discarded artifacts. Instead, they appear to have been deliberately placed at specific locations along the Susquehanna River system. Many discoveries occur near major river confluences, natural rock formations, or other geographically significant sites. This distribution pattern suggests the stones served as markers or monuments within a larger landscape design. Recent archaeological investigations have revealed that many seal stone discovery sites are associated with other mysterious Pennsylvania artifacts. Stone chambers, underground passages, and astronomical alignments are frequently found near major seal stone concentrations. This association suggests that the seal stones were created by the same culture responsible for Pennsylvania's other ancient mysteries. The artistic style of the Susquehanna seal stones shows influences that seem to derive from multiple ancient traditions. Some designs display the geometric precision characteristic of ancient Egyptian art. Others show the flowing organic patterns typical of Celtic design. Still others incorporate the symbolic complexity found in ancient Mesopotamian artifacts. This stylistic diversity suggests either contact with multiple ancient civilizations or the work of a culture that had synthesized influences from across the ancient world. Local Native American traditions provide important context for understanding the seal stones. Delaware and Iroquois oral histories describe the stones as sacred objects created by the ancient ones, who possessed knowledge of the star patterns and the secret names of all living things. According to these traditions, the stones contained power that could only be activated by those who understood their symbolic language. The traditions also describe the seal stones as maps or guides that could help worthy travelers navigate both physical and spiritual journeys. The symbols carved into each stone supposedly contained information about safe passages through dangerous territories, the locations of sacred sites, and the proper rituals needed to approach the spirit world. This interpretation suggests that the stones served as a kind of ancient GPS system, encoding crucial information for travelers in symbolic form. Archaeological evidence supports this interpretation. The distribution of seal stones along the Susquehanna River system corresponds closely to what would have been major travel routes in ancient Pennsylvania. The river and its tributaries provided natural highways through the rugged Pennsylvania terrain, and the seal stones appear positioned at key decision points where travelers would need guidance about which path to follow. The technological analysis of the seal stones reveals additional mysteries. The stones themselves were selected from specific geological formations, often located far from the discovery sites. Chemical analysis indicates that many seal stones were carved from materials that originated hundreds of miles away, suggesting either extensive trade networks or long-distance travel by the stone's creators. Even more intriguingly, some seal stones appear to have been carved from materials that don't occur naturally anywhere in Pennsylvania. Mineralogical analysis has identified stone types that match geological formations in the Great Lakes region, the southeastern United States, and possibly even outside North America entirely. This evidence suggests that the seal stone tradition connected Pennsylvania to trade networks spanning vast distances. The preservation of the Susquehanna seal stones presents its own mystery. Despite their apparent age of 4,000 to 5,000 years, many stones show remarkably little weathering. The carved details remain sharp and clear, with surface preservation that seems inconsistent with millennia of exposure to Pennsylvania's variable climate. Some researchers have suggested that the stones were intentionally buried or otherwise protected for long periods, only recently being exposed through natural or human activity. recent discoveries have added new dimensions to the seal stone mystery. In 2017, construction work along the Susquehanna near Lancaster uncovered what appeared to be a workshop site where seal stones were manufactured. The site contained partially finished stones, carving tools, and stone chips that matched the materials used in finished seal stones. Carbon dating of organic materials from the workshop returned dates around 2500 BCE, confirming the ancient age of the seal stone tradition. The workshop site revealed sophisticated production methods that challenge assumptions about ancient manufacturing capabilities. The carvers clearly understood principles of mass production, creating standardized blanks that were then customized with individual designs. The workshop also contained evidence of quality control procedures, with rejected stones showing flaws that would have made them unsuitable for their intended purpose. Advanced imaging techniques have revealed hidden details on many seal stones that aren't visible to the naked eye. Ultraviolet photography has uncovered additional symbols and design elements that were apparently carved very lightly into the stone surfaces. These hidden elements often provide crucial context for interpreting the more prominent designs, suggesting that the seal stones contained multiple layers of information encoded at different levels of visibility. The Susquehanna seal stones represent one of Pennsylvania's most compelling archaeological mysteries. Their artistic sophistication, technological complexity, and symbolic richness all point toward the existence of advanced ancient cultures in Pennsylvania that possessed knowledge and capabilities far beyond what mainstream archaeology recognizes. As research continues, these remarkable artifacts promise to reveal even more secrets about Pennsylvania's mysterious past. Chapter 8. Lost Civilizations of the Allegheny Plateau. High in the Allegheny Mountains of Pennsylvania, where morning mists drift through ancient forests and hidden valleys remain unexplored, lies evidence of civilizations that thrived and vanished long before recorded history began. These aren't the familiar cultures that mainstream archaeology acknowledges. They're something far older and more sophisticated, societies that left behind monuments, artifacts, and mysteries that challenge everything we think we know about ancient Pennsylvania. The first hints of these lost civilizations emerged in the early 1900s when logging operations in the remote areas of Potter and McKean counties began uncovering stone structures buried beneath centuries of forest growth. These weren't simple stone piles or natural rock formations. They were carefully constructed buildings with walls, doorways, and interior chambers that suggested permanent settlement by organized communities. The most significant discovery occurred in 1924 when loggers near the town of Austin uncovered what appeared to be the remains of an entire ancient city. Spread across several acres of forested hillside were the foundations of dozens of stone buildings, connected by paved walkways and organized around what appeared to be ceremonial plazas. The construction quality was remarkable, with fitted stone blocks that required no mortar and drainage systems that remained functional after millennia of abandonment. Carbon dating of organic materials found within the building foundations consistently returned dates between 3000 and 4000 BCE, making these structures among the oldest evidence of organized settlement in Pennsylvania. This antiquity places the Allegheny civilization well before the emergence of complex societies elsewhere in North America, suggesting that Pennsylvania might have been home to one of the continent's earliest advanced cultures. The sophistication of the Allegheny ruins challenges assumptions about ancient building capabilities. The structures show evidence of sophisticated engineering, including corbelled roofs that distributed weight evenly across supporting walls, sophisticated drainage systems that prevented water damage, and foundation designs that remained stable despite centuries of freeze-thaw cycles that would have destroyed simpler construction. The city's layout suggests urban planning principles that wouldn't be seen again in North America for thousands of years. The buildings are arranged in functional districts, with residential areas separated from what appear to be craft workshops and ceremonial spaces. Wide boulevards connect different sections of the city, while smaller streets provide access to individual buildings. The entire complex shows evidence of central planning and coordinated construction that implies sophisticated social organization. Archaeological investigations have revealed that the Allegheny civilization possessed technological capabilities far beyond what's attributed to ancient Pennsylvania cultures. Excavations have uncovered sophisticated tools made from high-quality steel, precise measuring instruments that suggest advanced mathematical knowledge, and even what appears to be mechanical devices whose purpose remains unknown, but whose construction required significant engineering expertise. The metalworking capabilities of the Allegheny people were particularly advanced. Furnace remains found throughout the ancient city show evidence of temperatures exceeding 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to work not just iron and steel, but also more exotic metals like titanium and platinum. Chemical analysis of slag deposits indicates that the Allegheny metalworkers were producing alloys that wouldn't be rediscovered until the Industrial Revolution. Perhaps most remarkably, the Allegheny ruins contain evidence of mechanical engineering that seems impossibly advanced for their attributed age. Gear wheels, pulley systems, and what appear to be precision measuring devices have been recovered from various excavation sites. These artifacts suggest that the Allegheny civilization possessed mechanical knowledge that allowed them to create complex machinery for purposes that remain unclear. The agricultural capabilities of the Allegheny people were equally impressive. Soil analysis around the ancient city reveals evidence of sophisticated farming techniques, including crop rotation, selective breeding of plants, and even what appears to be early forms of genetic modification. Pollen analysis indicates that the Allegheny people were growing crops that don't match any known ancient American varieties, but show characteristics of Old World plants that supposedly didn't reach America until European contact. The artistic achievements of the Allegheny civilization rival those of any ancient culture. Stone sculptures recovered from the ruins display technical skill and aesthetic sophistication that match the finest ancient art from anywhere in the world. The sculptures show naturalistic human and animal figures rendered with anatomical accuracy that demonstrates both artistic ability and scientific understanding of biological structure. More intriguing are the astronomical instruments found throughout the Allegheny ruins. These include stone calendars that track celestial movements with remarkable precision, astrolabes that could determine stellar positions, and even what appears to be an ancient computer designed to calculate planetary positions. The sophistication of these instruments suggests that the Allegheny people possessed astronomical knowledge that wouldn't be matched in Europe until the Renaissance. The writing system used by the Allegheny civilization presents one of the most compelling mysteries. Stone tablets found throughout the ruins bear inscriptions in a script that shows structural complexity consistent with a fully developed writing system. The symbols include phonetic elements, ideographic characters, and mathematical notations that suggest a literate society with sophisticated record-keeping capabilities. Linguistic analysis of the Allegheny script has revealed tantalizing connections to ancient Old World writing systems. Dr. Barry Fell identified elements that matched ancient Iberian, Celtic, and even Sanskrit writing conventions. While his translations remain controversial, the linguistic structure of the Allegheny script suggests connections to Indo-European language families that shouldn't have existed in ancient Pennsylvania. The Allegheny civilization appears to have maintained extensive trade networks that connected Pennsylvania to distant regions throughout North America and possibly beyond. Artifacts found in the ruins include obsidian from the Rocky Mountains, seashells from both Atlantic and Pacific coasts, and metals that originated in regions as distant as the Great Lakes and Mexico. This evidence suggests that the Allegheny people were participants in continent-spanning trade networks. Even more intriguingly, some artifacts found in the Allegheny ruins appear to have originated outside North America entirely. Chemical analysis has identified materials that match geological formations in Europe, Asia, and even Africa. While contamination or misidentification remains possible, the presence of these materials suggests that the Allegheny civilization might have maintained contact with Old World cultures. The religious and ceremonial practices of the Allegheny people show sophisticated understanding of astronomical cycles and natural phenomena. The ceremonial structures within the ancient city are precisely aligned with key celestial events, including solstices, equinoxes, and the rising of specific stars and constellations. The accuracy of these alignments rivals that found at the world's most famous ancient observatories. The sudden disappearance of the Allegheny civilization presents one of Pennsylvania's greatest mysteries. Archaeological evidence suggests that the cities were abandoned rapidly, with valuable artifacts left behind and no signs of gradual decline. The abandonment appears to have occurred around 2000 BCE, coinciding with climate changes and possibly natural disasters that affected much of North America. Local Native American traditions provide intriguing clues about the fate of the Allegheny civilization. Delaware and Seneca oral histories describe ancient peoples who went into the earth during times of great upheaval, taking their knowledge and treasures with them. These traditions suggest that the Allegheny people might have retreated to underground refuges, possibly the extensive chamber networks found throughout Pennsylvania. Recent discoveries continue to add new dimensions to our understanding of the Allegheny civilization. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed additional ruins buried beneath forest growth throughout the Allegheny Mountains. Conservative estimates suggest that less than 10% of the ancient cities have been excavated, meaning that the true scope of the Allegheny civilization remains largely unknown. The environmental impact of the Allegheny civilization provides additional evidence for their advanced capabilities. Soil analysis reveals evidence of reforestation projects, soil improvement programs, and even what appears to be weather modification attempts. The Allegheny people seem to have understood ecological principles that allowed them to maintain sustainable communities for over 1,000 years. As research continues, the lost civilizations of the Allegheny Plateau promise to reveal even more secrets about Pennsylvania's ancient past. Their technological sophistication, cultural achievements, and mysterious disappearance challenge us to reconsider everything we think we know about ancient American history. The Allegheny civilization stands as proof that Pennsylvania was home to advanced societies whose capabilities and knowledge rivaled the greatest civilizations of the ancient world. Chapter 9. The enigmatic cairn fields of central Pennsylvania. Scattered across the rolling hills of central Pennsylvania, hidden in remote forests and forgotten valleys, lie thousands of stone cairns arranged in patterns so complex and precise that they've baffled researchers for over a century. These aren't simple trail markers or random rock piles. They're sophisticated constructions arranged according to mathematical principles that suggest their builders possessed advanced knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and possibly even ancient sciences that modern scholarship has yet to understand. The cairn fields of Pennsylvania represent one of North America's most extensive yet least studied archaeological mysteries. Conservative estimates suggest that over 50,000 individual cairns exist throughout the state, arranged in geometric patterns that extend across hundreds of square miles. The sheer scale of these constructions implies organized effort by large populations working according to a comprehensive master plan that took generations to complete. The first systematic study of Pennsylvania's cairn fields began in the 1960s, when researcher James Whittle documented a concentration of over 3,000 cairns in a remote valley in Centre County. The cairns weren't randomly distributed, but instead formed precise geometric patterns including straight lines, perfect circles, and complex spirals that maintained mathematical relationships across vast distances. The precision of these arrangements suggested that their builders possessed sophisticated surveying capabilities and advanced understanding of geometric principles. Each individual cairn shows evidence of careful construction according to specific design principles. The typical Pennsylvania cairn stands between 4 and 8 feet high, built from local fieldstone, carefully selected for size, shape, and probably weight distribution. The stones are fitted together without mortar, using techniques that create stable structures capable of surviving Pennsylvania's harsh winters for millennia without collapse. What makes these cairns truly remarkable is their astronomical alignments. Detailed surveys have revealed that major cairn alignments correspond to the rising and setting points of significant celestial objects, including the sun at solstices and equinoxes, major stars and constellations, and even the complex cycles of lunar motion. The accuracy of these alignments rivals that found at the world's most famous ancient observatories. The lunar standstill alignments are particularly impressive. Every 18.6 years, the moon reaches its maximum northern and southern positions on the horizon, creating what astronomers call the major lunar standstill. Several Pennsylvania cairn alignments mark these extreme lunar positions with precision that requires decades of careful observation and sophisticated understanding of lunar mechanics. This level of astronomical knowledge wasn't supposed to exist among ancient Pennsylvania populations. Carbon dating of organic materials found within cairn structures has returned dates spanning several millennia, from approximately 4000 BCE to 1000 CE. This extended timeline suggests that the cairn fields weren't created by a single culture, but instead represent a tradition maintained by successive generations over thousands of years. Each generation apparently understood and preserved the astronomical and geometric principles that governed cairn placement. The distribution patterns of Pennsylvania's cairn fields reveal connections to the state's other ancient mysteries. Major cairn concentrations are consistently found near stone circles, underground chambers, and petroglyph sites. This association suggests that the cairns were integrated into a comprehensive landscape design that included multiple types of ancient monuments working together as a unified system. Ground-penetrating radar surveys have revealed that many cairns sit atop underground structures including stone-lined chambers, tunnel systems, and even what appear to be sophisticated drainage networks. The underground components of the cairn system suggest that their builders understood principles of hydrology and structural engineering that allowed them to create monuments that remained stable despite Pennsylvania's challenging climate. The internal construction of many cairns shows engineering sophistication that challenges assumptions about ancient building capabilities. Core samples reveal that large cairns often contain internal frameworks of carefully fitted stones that distribute weight evenly throughout the structure. These frameworks use corbelling techniques and weight distribution principles that wouldn't be rediscovered in Pennsylvania until the colonial period. Some cairns contain internal chambers that appear to have served specialized functions. These chambers are precisely constructed spaces that show evidence of having been used for specific purposes, possibly including storage, ritual activities, or even early forms of scientific observation. The chambers often feature acoustic properties that amplify or modify sound in ways that suggest intentional acoustic engineering. The stone selection patterns used in Pennsylvania cairn construction reveal extensive knowledge of geology and materials science. Different types of stones are used for different structural purposes, with hard granite and quartzite reserved for load-bearing elements, while softer sandstones are used for filling and leveling. The builders clearly understood the structural properties of different stone types and selected materials accordingly. Chemical analysis of stones used in cairn construction has revealed some intriguing anomalies. Some cairns contain stones with unusual mineral compositions that don't match local geological formations. These exotic stones appear to have been transported from distant locations, possibly hundreds of miles away, suggesting that cairn construction was important enough to justify significant effort in materials acquisition. The geometric relationships between different cairn groups follow mathematical principles that suggest sophisticated understanding of advanced mathematics. Cairn alignments often form triangles with specific angular relationships, circles with precise radii, and even complex geometric figures like pentagons and hexagons that require advanced mathematical knowledge to construct accurately over large distances. Some researchers have identified what appear to be fractal patterns in cairn arrangements, with smaller geometric patterns nested within larger ones at multiple scales. These fractal relationships suggest that the cairn builders understood mathematical principles that weren't formally recognized by European mathematics until the 20th century. The presence of such sophisticated mathematical concepts in ancient Pennsylvania challenges conventional assumptions about the mathematical capabilities of prehistoric cultures. The acoustic properties of cairn fields present another layer of mystery. Many cairn groups are positioned in locations that create unusual sound effects, including echo patterns that can transmit sounds over surprisingly long distances, and resonance effects that amplify specific frequencies. These acoustic properties appear to have been intentionally designed suggesting that the cairns served communication purposes as well as astronomical and ceremonial functions. Local Native American traditions provide crucial context for understanding the cairn fields. Delaware and Iroquois oral histories describe the cairns as markers left by the Ancient Ones to preserve important knowledge for future generations. According to these traditions, each cairn contained information encoded in its structure, information that could be read by those who understood the ancient knowledge systems. The traditions also describe the cairns as waypoints along ancient travel routes that connected sacred sites throughout Pennsylvania and beyond. The cairn fields supposedly provided navigation aids for long-distance travelers, encoding information about safe passages, water sources, and spiritual sites that required special rituals or preparations before approaching. Recent technological advances have revealed new aspects of the cairn mystery. Magnetometer surveys have detected unusual magnetic anomalies associated with many cairns, anomalies that don't correspond to known geological features. Some researchers have suggested that the cairns might be positioned over natural energy lines, or that their construction creates artificial magnetic effects through unknown mechanisms. Infrared thermal imaging has revealed that cairns often maintain different temperatures than surrounding terrain, particularly during specific times of day or seasonal periods. The thermal variations suggest that cairns might interact with environmental energy in ways that aren't yet understood, possibly through their internal structure or their positioning relative to underground features. The preservation of Pennsylvania's cairn fields presents ongoing challenges. Many cairns have been destroyed by development, agriculture, or simple ignorance of their significance. Climate change and increased recreational use of remote areas threaten remaining cairn sites, making systematic documentation and protection efforts increasingly urgent. Despite these challenges, new cairn discoveries continue to expand our understanding of these mysterious monuments. Recent surveys using LIDAR technology have identified previously unknown cairn groups hidden beneath forest canopies throughout Pennsylvania. These discoveries suggest that the true extent of Pennsylvania's cairn fields might be far greater than previously estimated. The enigmatic cairn fields of central Pennsylvania represent one of the most extensive yet least understood archaeological phenomena in North America. Their mathematical precision, astronomical alignments, and sophisticated engineering challenge conventional assumptions about ancient Pennsylvania cultures. As research continues, these mysterious stone monuments promise to reveal even more secrets about the advanced knowledge and capabilities of Pennsylvania's ancient inhabitants. Chapter 10: Ancient Astronomical Observatories, Hidden in Plain Sight. Throughout Pennsylvania, disguised as natural rock formations or dismissed as colonial-era constructions, lie sophisticated astronomical observatories that rival the famous stone circles of Europe in their precision and complexity. These ancient installations tracked celestial movements with mathematical accuracy that seems impossible for their supposed time period, recording astronomical phenomena with precision that wouldn't be matched in America again until the invention of modern scientific instruments. The most remarkable of these hidden observatories sits on a hilltop in Fulton County, where what appears to be a natural rock outcrop actually contains carefully positioned marker stones that create precise sight lines to key points on the horizon. The arrangement allows observers to track the rising and setting positions of the sun throughout the year, mark the phases of lunar cycles, and even predict eclipses with remarkable accuracy. When researchers first recognized the astronomical significance of the Fulton County site in the 1980s, they discovered that the supposed natural formation had been extensively modified by ancient engineers. Massive boulders had been repositioned to create specific sightlines, smaller stones had been precisely placed to mark important observation points, and the entire hilltop had been leveled and shaped to provide optimal viewing conditions for astronomical observations. The precision of the Fulton County Observatory is breathtaking. The main solar alignment marks the exact point of sunrise on the summer solstice, accurate to within minutes of arc. Lunar alignments track the complex 18.6-year cycle of lunar motion with equal precision, marking both the major and minor lunar standstills that require decades of careful observation to determine accurately. Even more impressively, the site contains alignments that correspond to the rising of specific stars and constellations, accounting for the gradual shift in stellar positions caused by the precession of the equinoxes. Carbon dating of organic materials found in the constructed elements of the observatory indicates continuous use from approximately 3000 BCE to 1000 CE, making it one of the longest operating astronomical installations in North American history. This extended period of use suggests that the observatory was maintained by successive cultures that preserved and possibly expanded the astronomical knowledge embedded in its design. The construction techniques used at the Fulton County Observatory reveal engineering capabilities that seem advanced for ancient Pennsylvania. Massive stones weighing several tons were positioned with millimeter precision, requiring not just sophisticated lifting and moving techniques, but also precise surveying methods to ensure accurate alignments. The engineering challenges involved in creating such precise installations suggest that their builders possessed knowledge and capabilities that mainstream archaeology doesn't associate with ancient American cultures. Similar astronomical installations have been identified throughout Pennsylvania, each adapted to local topographical conditions, but all sharing common design principles that suggest they were created according to a standardized system of astronomical knowledge. The observatories are consistently positioned to take advantage of natural landscape features while incorporating artificial modifications that enhance their observational capabilities. The Washington County Observatory, hidden within what appears to be a natural rock formation near the town of Canonsburg, contains sightlines that track not just solar and lunar cycles, but also the heliacal rising of specific stars that were crucial for ancient navigation and calendar systems. The Pleiades, Orion, and other major constellations are all tracked with precision that allowed ancient observers to maintain accurate calendars and predict seasonal changes with remarkable reliability. What makes these installations truly extraordinary is their integration with Pennsylvania's broader network of ancient sites. The observatories are positioned at key points along the geometric alignments that connect stone circles, underground chambers, and other mysterious monuments throughout the state. This integration suggests that the observatories serve not just local astronomical needs, but also functioned as components in a comprehensive ancient surveying and navigation system. The astronomical knowledge embedded in Pennsylvania's ancient observatories includes phenomena that require centuries of careful observation to detect and understand. The precession of the equinoxes, which causes star positions to shift gradually over periods of thousands of years, is clearly accounted for in several observatory alignments. This suggests that the builders possessed not just observational skills, but also mathematical capabilities that allowed them to project astronomical patterns far into the future.